Right, before we go, for every one of you out there, I hope your life will be transformed today as you join us in today's service. And I wanted to do something special for you all today. I remember my mentor, my spiritual father, the man that I learned under his feet for at least 2 years. We have followed him all over the world, and maybe an association of close to 8 years before he passed. Is a man that has greatly influenced me in my daily life, has influenced me in my ministry. He has influenced me in my business. And before we even go into the sermon this morning, I wanted you guys to feel a little bit of the man of God. He's going to be with the Lord now, but what he left for us can never be forgotten. He's a man that every time I listen to him, I get energized all over again. And today is going to be talking about the spirit of leadership. Just for 5 minutes, I just wanted you to feel him. The great Dr. Myles Munroe himself.
On the planet that the Creator identified himself with. The first one is the eagle.
The first one is the eagle.
The eagle. And the second animal is the lion.
And the second animal is the lion.
And when I identified those two animals as his to identify himself with, I recognized I better study these two animals, because if he is the leader of the universe and I want to be a leader on earth, I better find out the nature of these animals and also the attitude of these animals. And I discovered that both of them are the kings of their domain. The eagle is the king of the bird kingdom, and the lion is the king of the animal kingdom. But let's talk a little bit about the lion. The lion has what I call the spirit of leadership. And this word spirit here is referring to attitude. Everybody say attitude. A leader has an attitude that makes him or her different from followers. Now, the lion is the king of the jungle, but the lion to me is a great source of encouragement to all of us. I want you to write this down. Remember this as long as you live. Number one, the lion is not the tallest animal in the jungle. Number two, the lion is not the largest animal in the jungle. Number three, the lion is not the heaviest animal in the jungle. Number four, the lion is not the smartest animal or the most intelligent animal in the jungle. And yet, when he shows up, they all run away. Well, here's one of my favorite quotes that I put in my books, and I believe it really brings home the point. An army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lions led by a sheep. And the answers to that dilemma is this: because leadership can transform cowards into violent warriors. The right kind of leadership can transform a timid into bold people who are fearless. Leadership is that powerful. Leadership can walk into a camp of depressed people, and in 20 minutes they have turned on into unbelievable, powerful armies, because leadership determines everything. The lion is the king of the jungle because of one word: attitude. Everybody say attitude. Write it down. Attitude. The lion has a different attitude that makes every animal afraid of him. Now, we don't want to lead by fear, but it does take respect for you to become a leader. When I use the word fear in the jungle, we're talking about respect. The elephant respects the lion. The hyenas respect the lion. The giraffes, they respect the lion. What makes these massive animals respect such a small cat? The attitude is the difference. For example, a lion will see an elephant, and the thing that comes to his mind, one word: lunch. I could eat this thing. And he acts the way he thinks. Now here's another amazing mystery. The elephant is larger, bigger, stronger, more powerful, heavier, and more intelligent. And yet when the elephant sees the lion, one word comes to mind: eater. Attitude is a product of belief. You cannot have an attitude beyond your belief. So your attitude comes from your belief system. The lion is the king because of what he believes about himself.
I hope every one of us are blessed by the timeless words of Dr. Myles Munroe himself. Everything that you are comes from your mindset. It always starts from the mind. If your mind is not right, then you can't on your mindset. All right. I know my system restarted itself. Hopefully it will come on quickly. All right. Sorry about that. My point is, hopefully all of us got blessed by the by that short word from Dr. Myles Munroe of blessed memory himself. Every time I challenge myself, listening to his timeless words, because everything begins and ends in the mind. The battle always starts from the mind. If the devil cannot take you down unless it first messes with your mind. That is what even happened with Adam in the garden. The devil messed with his mind, changed his perception of God. And the next thing we know, Adam started doubting the goodness of God, the God that created him and put him in the garden and gave him everything. All of a sudden, the Satan started making him think of God as somebody holding something back from him. And it was a short distance to fall them. So we go to the teaching series that we have been doing, and I'm so excited about that. Hopefully, we'll be bringing it to a close sometime, maybe next week. But to me, this is one of the most transformational sermons you can listen to, because if you can get it right, you can have all-round fruitfulness in every area of your life. What happened to my harvest? Too many people have been discouraged about life. Too many people have been discouraged about their service in church, about their service for their employers, about their marriages, because they, for some reason, they feel they are not getting the harvest that they deserved in their life, in their business, in their church service, and they give up. And I've always felt that if something is wrong with your harvest, in other words, if you put in the work and you are not getting the harvest, you need to do what I call a seed time audit, because God will never lie. He has said a man will reap exactly what he sowed. So if what you are reaping is not what you think you sowed, then you need to do an audit of your seed time. So that's what we have been discussing these last 6 weeks. This is the 7th week that we're actually discussing this, what happened to my harvest, because I believe what happened to your harvest, that question is central to everything about life, is central to everything you believe, is central to what happens to you in life. There is no mystery about what happened to your harvest. Only ignorance or denial of facts. If your harvest is missing, Don't blame your in-law. Don't blame the witches in your village. Don't blame your pastor. Don't blame your wife. Don't blame your husband. Don't blame your employer. Blame or do an audit of the principles, because if you do your audit, your seed time well, there's nothing on this earth that can deny you your harvest. The God of harvest is not partial. You do your seed time right, He will give you your harvest guaranteed. And if you don't do your seed time right, prayer alone is not going to help you. Night vigil is not going to help you. It doesn't mean God doesn't love you, but God really violates His own principles. As long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest shall never cease. So if your harvest is missing, you must do an audit of the principles. And we have been covering several of them. I think we've covered about 6 so far. Today we are going to go with 7, 8, and possibly 9. The first thing we discussed, I'd like to do a recap. For those of you who might not have followed the first 6 sessions, you want to try to get the past 6 Sundays and try to go through each of them in detail. But we talk about the principle of inventory. Number 1, you have to do an inventory of the kind of seeds God has given you, because that is God that's put you on this earth and wants you to achieve a purpose, already gave you the seeds that you need to achieve at least the seeds that you can plant to go from one level to the other. So if you're not going from one level to the other in pursuit of your destiny, you are probably not doing the right inventory. Then we talk about the principle of qualification. Even after you know what you're supposed to plant, even after you get it, do you qualify your soil before you sow it? Because the quality of the soil will determine the quality of the harvest. God is the God of harvest. You are the God of seed time. Whatever you sow is what is going to come out. So you need to qualify your seeds well. You need to go look for the sermon where we talked about how to properly qualify your ground before you put your seed in it. We talk about principle number 3, the principle of plantation. After you qualify the ground, after you have gotten your inventory of what to plant, you have qualified the ground, you need to know how to plant right. If you don't plant, you have no right to expect a harvest. You're asking God to throw away all the principles, to make an exception for you all the time by giving you a harvest when you have not planted. You cannot reap where you did not sow. Do not be deceived. God will not be mocked. A man shall reap exactly what he sowed. So if you don't sow, you don't expect an harvest. We did a whole 1 hour teaching on that, how to plant very well. Principle number 4 that we have discussed, principle of duplication. Don't get it twisted. A man will reap exactly the kind of seed he sowed. We talk about that at length, and it covers every area. If you have been sowing bitterness into the life of people, you have no right to expect happiness. If you have been showing lack of love to your spouse, you will be an ignoramus to expect your life to keep giving you, your wife to keep giving you love in return. It doesn't work that way. We talk about that. You are going to reap exactly the kind of seed that you sowed, whether now or later. So whatever every one of us is reaping now, most times is a direct reflection of what we are sowing. If we sowed it, or maybe we violated any of the other principles, okay? That's why you don't get what you expect. Principle number 5, principle of proportionality. The fact that you're going to get what you sowed does not mean that you're going to sow like an ant and then reap like an elephant. It doesn't work that way. You're going to sow in proportion to the seed that you sowed. If you sow one ant, you're going to get multiple ants back. You're not going to get multiple elephants. It doesn't work that way. So the fact that you went to vigil and pray, I want to sow like an ant and reap like an elephant, it doesn't work that way. What comes out of an ant in terms of a harvest or in terms of extraction is different from what comes from an elephant. If you want to reap like an elephant, you got to sow like an elephant. Proportionality. You don't reap exactly the same quantity, you reap multiples of the quantity you put in. And then principle number 6, principle of consistency. For you to reap a harvest continuously, you have to sow continuously. We discussed that at length 2 weeks ago. So try to get all the past 6 sections of this training. so that you can study yourself aright, so that you can position yourself for massive harvest on a daily basis in your life, in your business, in your family, in your career. So today we go to principle number 7, the principle of waiting. There is always a waiting period between seed planting and harvest. Once your seed is in the ground, you have to wait for it to come out. You must learn to wait for the harvest. Nobody sows corn today and harvests it that same day or tomorrow. Many of us, this is where we miss it. We move up from our harvest and start doing something else without waiting for what we have sown to mature. Remember the person who discovered the cure for penicillin? They say he did 1001 experiments before he finally got it. Many people quit before their harvest is ripe. You have heard about the story of the miner who went to dig for gold. For days and days he was digging, and then he gave up and left. Then the next person got to that same spot and just dug for 2 minutes and gold poured out. He gave up just before the point of victory. None of us will give up our harvest before we get it in Jesus' name. You will not get frustrated out just as you are about to reap your harvest at your job, in your marriage, in your careers, in your work with God. The devil is always trying to whisper in your ears and say, give up, give up, give up. And most times, many people give up just before they reach victory. It happens in life. I see it all the time. I've trained people online on how to make money online. That's what I do for a living, by the way, now. Apart from my law practice, that's what I do. Teach people. I've seen guys who are almost there. They've been struggling. They finally managed to create their squeeze page. They finally get a product ready. Now they're about the process of launching it, and somehow you don't hear from them anymore. They give up just before the victory lap. That will not be your portion in Jesus' name. You need to understand that as far as the law of the seed is concerned, the principle of what happened to my harvest, when you sowed, you got to wait the appropriate time for the harvest. The harvest for each seed is different. Harvest does not come immediately you sow. So you have to be patient. After even verifying that every other part of the seed time I've done right, now you have to stand. That's why the Bible says after you have done all you can, then you stand. But you don't stand until you have done everything that you can. And after you've done that, you stand and wait for the salvation of the Lord, for the glory of the Lord to manifest himself. That is where your prayer is now going to be going strong. That's why your vigil starts to matter. Now, Father, I have sown this, I've sown this, I've sown this. Father, let my harvest come quickly. You start praying and start listening to the Holy Spirit inside of you. It will tell you. Many of us will sow, but when it comes to the time of harvest, we are found wanting. Even use grow wearies. I know what Isaiah said. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 30. Even use grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings of eagle. They will run and not be weary. They will walk and not be faint. You got to defend your harvest. You got to be vigilant. I like to use the word vigilant here. Many of us, we sow. When it comes to time of harvest, we are not vigilant. I know many of us in Christendom, we slander Jacob. We call Jacob a deceiver. We say he stole the blessings of Esau. Many of you, when you get to heaven, you are going to have to answer to slander calls, because if you are ever one of those people who call Jacob a deceiver for stealing and told him that he stole Jacob's blessing, you will answer to God. He did not deceive nobody other than his father, and I'm coming to that in a minute. But he did not deceive Esau to steal his blessings. Esau wanted to eat, and he said, the price for my food is your birthright. And Esau agreed. Esau that could have walked away from Jacob and walked in to go and talk to his mother and get food from his mother. He sold his birthright free and clear. But watch out for Jacob. When it was time for harvest, remember the birthright has been sold to him. And now the father was now ready to give that birthright blessings. He told Esau, go get me some more food and I will bless you. But the mother of Jacob had this. They told Jacob. Jacob did not sleep on his rights. He owned that blessing. Now, yeah, you might say he didn't have to deceive his father. If he did anything wrong, in my own opinion, he's trying to pass himself up as Esau to his father. And if you use that to say, okay, he's a deceiver, then you're right. He could have opened up and said, Dad, this man already sold me his birthright. His father is a covenant-keeping father. He would have prayed for him anyway. Isaac knows all about covenants. He would have said, this man sold me his birthright, which he did with a covenant. Remember, he didn't just say, okay, I give it to you. Jacob asked him to swear, and he swore. So he was a written contract or a covenant contract. So when it comes to collecting his harvest, Jacob wasn't playing. Jacob was not, when his harvest was ripe, he went in there and took it. And God did not take it back from him. You cannot walk and then wait for somebody else to come and reap your harvest. You have to be vigilant. You have to wait and be vigilant for when your harvest is going to come. Impatience sometimes leads some of us to doubt, and when you doubt, you destroy the seed. He who doubts receive nothing from the Lord. James chapter 1, verse 6 to 8. You must understand that after plantation, you must wait for your harvest. And while you are waiting, you cannot doubt God. You cannot doubt your harvest. And I'm not even just, remember, God is the God of harvest. When you doubt, you destroy your seed same way. When you have a relationship and you are not ready to wait for the maturity and you start doubting the other person, maybe it's a business. You guys have done business, you are waiting for them to pay you, and then you start doubting, you start accusing each other of doing one thing or the other. Before you know it, that business is dead. You start doubting yourself. You have sown, you have worked hard. Then you start doubting yourself. Maybe this thing will not work. Maybe I've wasted my time. And before you know it, you start going to do something else. I've seen this happen many times. I've seen this happen. I've seen this happen many times, even to me, where you sowed something and you were not patient enough to wait for that harvest. And then you walk away. And somebody else comes in and takes it. I remember when this coronavirus was first announced, first week in January is when the first grain started coming out. I remember talking to somebody in Nigeria, and I was saying, listen, why don't we go white label this hand wash? Okay, that there is this hand wash thing all over the place. They make it in Nigeria, right? Let's approach somebody who's already making it and tell them to white label it for us. We can call it Amotekun. And I was saying it almost jokingly, but I was serious. Let's call it Amotekun sanitizer. Since Amotekun was hot then, this thing that the Southerners are doing, let's call it Amotekun sanitizer, so that, because I know this coronavirus is going to become a pandemic from the way they were saying it, why don't we go white label it? So that when everybody start buying, we will already have positioned ourselves to make money. That was an idea that I planted, but I never worked on it. So I wouldn't actually say that's waiting. That's not really principle. That's plantation. I never planted it. I never went forward with it. We went so far as getting names of people, companies in Nigeria. One of my assistants did a research for me and got me 4 names of companies that actually do this stuff. That where we can approach them and then tell them to white label. They do white label of it. If you Google it, we saw it. We could white label from Alibaba. We could white label from AliExpress. There is even a couple of places. And then I just left it. Now I'm hearing that one of the hottest things selling everywhere, not even just Africa, everywhere in the world, is sanitizer. And it's late. I can't reap any harvest there. So that, you might say, is a bit more of principle of plantation than waiting. And I will agree with you, but I just wanted to tell that story, because when I think about it, I say, wow, you missed a great opportunity. Impatience leads to doubt. That may not be a relevant story, but take that and learn that when you come up with with an idea, that's a seed God has given you. Stop hesitating, stop doubting yourself. Go out there and plant it. And you'll be surprised. Don't wait for perfection. But here we are talking about doubting when you have already planted. Let me not confuse you guys too much this morning. When you doubt, you destroy the harvest. He who doubts does not receive. God has no time for people who doubt. You will see when we come to the principle of expectation. When you doubt God, you destroy your own seed right there. Because God has already said the only thing that can give him pleasure is for you to believe that is a diligent rewarder of those who serve him. He who comes to God must believe that he is, and that is a diligent rewarder of those who seek him. So if you don't believe he's going to reward you, he's not going to reward you. We're going to come to that. That is a whole principle on its own, principle of expectation. One of the strongest part of this law of seed time. So let me not mix it up this morning, all these principles up for you so that I don't get confused. God already promised the harvest if you sow properly. So it must come. Stop doubting. If the harvest is getting delayed, double check yourself on the principles again. Did I sow in the right soil? Okay, what am I expecting? Is my expectation proportional to what I put in? Once you check out all of that and check the rest, then you have to stand. Because God already promised. He said, if you sow, you are going to get. Isaiah chapter 55 verse 10 says, as the rain and the snow come down from heaven and do not return to it void without watering the earth, so is my word that goes out of my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire, and I will achieve the purpose for which it was sent. Essentially, he's telling you, God is saying, if you plant it, because he said it, as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest shall never cease. So if you plant it and you check outside and the world is still there, you know your harvest should be on its way, because God will not say it and not honor it. You can't doubt the God of harvest. He's always on point. He's always doing his thing. You focus on your seed time, and the Lord of the harvest will honor himself in every area of your life. Principle number 8, the principle of diligence. Now this, again, very important. Many of us, rather than working on our diligence, we are busy praying. Again, I have nothing against prayer. Prayer is supposed to be an activator of everything that you are doing. So don't confuse the two. Prayer cannot work when you have not put in the seed in the ground. Prayer makes things to come out beautiful. Prayer is like watering. It's like putting sun on your seed. But you got to do the work first. Principle of diligence. You have to be diligent in what you do if you want to get great harvest. Proverbs chapter 22 verse 29. Do you see a man diligent in his business? He will serve before kings. He will not serve before obscure men. I like that part. He will not serve before mean men, before obscure people. It is diligence that gets you promotion. Your prayers magnify the diligence you put on the ground. Your prayers get your diligence noticed by the right people. Your prayers get your diligence to attract people, but you must be diligent. I can't remember how many times I fight with people, particularly in Christendom. When we want to do everything, we don't do it with the quality that other people do it. It's like when you watch, although they're getting much better now. I remember in Nigeria, then they want to do a Christian award night. The thing is done shabbily compared to the way they do award night for regular music shows. And I'm like, what is wrong with you people? Why will anybody want to sponsor your Christian event if it is not as great or as glamorous as the others that they pay money for? We don't have a problem dressing to kill to go to a wedding, but we dress casually when we need to go do God's work. We do whatever we want. We will not dare missing appointment with our bosses, but when it comes to things of God, or when it comes to our spiritual stuff, we can be late 15, 30 minutes to the time. If you're not diligent, your bosses are not going to promote you. Only diligent people serve before kings. Don't be deceived. No successful person will promote you in their business if you're not diligent to your work. They may like you. You may even like them more than you like yourself. It won't matter. When it comes to promotion for places of responsibility, only a foolish leader will promote somebody who's not diligent to positions of authority, no matter how much they claim they love him. So if you are not getting promoted at your job, go check your diligence. Maybe that's the one you are missing. You have everything else. You are talented. You got everything else, but you are not diligent. You are not persistent. You're not going to make it. The harvest is not going to come. Principle of diligence requires you to be painstaking at work to be able to see the harvest. It's not easy to see harvest, guys. You got to hustle. The beauty of the world right now is I always tell people, we don't have a problem of information. When somebody tells me I don't know what to do, that tells me that's a lazy man. Because if you Google it, Google will tell you. There's hardly anything you want to do right now that somebody has not put an answer to it on the internet. So when you tell me, I say, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that, that tells me I've got a lazy man talking to me. Because if you Google it, not only will you see articles on it, you will also see video. Very rarely do you Google and Google shows you zero. I've never experienced it. No matter what you want to do, you type it. If you don't get the answer you want, you change your keywords and type again. Google will serve it up to you. All you do is spend an hour. You can learn about anything. You want to build a bomb now, you Google, all the intricate details is there. They will even show you video of somebody building a bomb. You want to plant corn, they will show you video of somebody planting corn, complete with details step by step. You want to publish a book, Google it. There are hundreds and hundreds of videos on it. So when somebody is telling me I can't get it done because I don't have information, I see a lazy man. Sometimes it might be difficult for you to get the information you need, but it's there. You have to be painstaking at work to see the harvest for you to get promoted, whether it's in your church, in your business, even in your relationship. You have to be diligent. If you are dating a girl and you say, I'm coming at 1, and they don't see you for 2 days, you do that enough. Do you think the girl is going to think you're a husband material? Or you're going to think, or if you're a girl, you think the man is going to see you as a wife material? No. You have to be diligent in everything you do. So if things are not working out for you, maybe that is where you are. You can have all the talent in the world. In other words, you have all the seeds in the world. If you're not diligent at sowing, you're not going to get the harvest. A diligent man with very few seeds will reap a higher harvest than a man with a lot of seeds who is not diligent. It requires you to be painstaking to be able to see the harvest. There is no anyhow, whether it's in God's kingdom or in your business. It requires you to take great care in how your business looks. The market respects diligence. In other words, the way your shop looks, if you have an office, does it look tacky? Or does it look attractive? Even your car that you drive, some people have a car, they drive it to a business and the whole car is dirty. It reflects something in the mind of the person meeting with you. The way you dress. I deliberately dress casual, but even in my casual, you can't say this looks tacky. You can see the background. It takes time to make that happen. Diligence in anything that you do. You might be the most intelligent human being in the world. You have an investors meeting with a proposed investor, and you show up at that meeting in bedroom slippers or looking tacky, without your hair being combed. If you're a woman, you didn't make yourself look good. The person is looking at you, even though we always tell ourselves, don't judge a book by its cover. But I always tell anybody who says that they don't know anything about marketing. Anybody who tells you don't judge a book by its cover knows nothing about marketing, because 90% of the people will make a judgment based on your cover. People, ask yourself, when you are going to buy the last book you bought, did you read the book before you bought it? So you don't know what the content, how good the content is. You bought it based on the cover. You bought it based on the marketing. You bought it based on the packaging. So if you're a pastor, for instance, you run a church, the outside of your church doesn't look good. The inside of your church doesn't look good. It doesn't matter how much anointing God gave you. You are not going to see the harvest if your packaging is poor. People are not even going to be attracted enough to even want to be part of what you are doing. You are sending a proposal to somebody, but you didn't bother to check your typos. So somebody wants to invest in your business. They read page 1 and they see about 8 typographical errors there already. They're already judging you that this person cannot deliver for me, even though you might be the best at your job. You might have the biggest job in your world and the biggest idea in your world. But if your packaging, you are not diligent at it, the way you present it. I had this experience. There was this big guy that I needed to invest in a business, in an internet business that I was trying to start. I had this software. Till now, the business hasn't even started because I missed that opportunity. I needed the guy to invest as much as $250,000 for me to do that business. But because I knew him well, because I see him as a big brother, I went into his house without having a solid business, even though I have the business plan. I didn't organize it well. I didn't put it in a way that is attractive. I got to his house. I started explaining to him, this is what I want to do, and I needed to come and invest as one of my directors and all that. And the man looked at me and shut me down. I was in shock because I didn't believe the man could tell me no. He just told me, well, today I really don't feel like God doesn't really want me to invest in any business now. It was nice. But later I told my friend, a mutual friend, that, can you believe that guy? He came into my house with no business plan. And he's asking me to invest money in his business. That tells me that's a lazy guy. I imagine somebody judging me as lazy. And I see myself as one of the hardest working human beings on earth. But it doesn't matter. As far as that man is concerned, I was a lazy man because I didn't prepare for the presentation. If I wanted somebody to invest $250,000 in my business then, why wouldn't I go to his house with a PowerPoint all done? A printed out business plan. Do I respect him enough for the kind of money I want to get? Not to have gone to go do a bound thing, invest the money, have PowerPoint ready, have my questions ready in case the man has. Dress sharp, even though I know him. We're talking business. You have to take great care. Many of you are not getting support because of the way you approach people. I've seen somebody, even this morning, somebody just approached me and said, can you, I want you to teach me. He doesn't know me from Adam. He's not told me anything about himself. He said, I saw your video somewhere. I want you to show me how to sell business on JVZoo. I'm like, okay. No, what is that JVZoo all about? I'm like, go Google it. Because it shows me that person is even lazy. It's asking me to do, it's a girl actually, asking me to do her homework. If you are saying what is JVZoo all about, is that the question you will ask me? You Google it. Now, if you now have questions about JVZoo, then you can then ask me. So that tells me right there and then that is a lazy human being. And I shut her down right away. I wasn't going to waste my seed of time on that person. So you're approaching somebody to help you with stuff, but you have not done enough diligence on what you can do, because you can Google to read up on what you are talking about. And then you can write out your question, what you are not clear about. Oh, I read this. It would have been different if that lady had come to me on my inbox and said, oh, Pastor, oh, I read this about this JVZoo on Google after listening to your video, but I'm still not clear about this that they said in the articles I read. Can you explain it? I will have taken all my time in the world, because that will have been a good seed. Somebody already doing some homework. Somebody said, oh, I have my music. I want you to help me market it. That means he's not done any homework. Oh, I've done some research on how to market my music. I hear about this, how do I, this one, I'm not clear how I can do it. You do your diligence. Diligence means you do what you can do. So your own, to show me that you are a serious human being. Same way, people address you where you present yourself. Just like somebody said on the chat just now, people address you the way we dress. I like that. That's a comment from somebody right out there, and I think that is, but beyond that, diligence requires a little bit more than that. It requires you to pay great attention in how your business looks. It requires you to be persistent and tenacious in your pursuit, because diligence will eventually lead to breakthrough. You guys need to get that. Breakthrough does not come simply because you knelt down. I always laugh when people quote some miracles in the Bible. I'm like, are you guys kidding me? There's a sermon series I teach, the technology to activate a miracle in your life is not hard. And how did I do that? I'm not just telling you because I woke up and thought about it. I actually studied many of the people that received miracles from Jesus. There are 4 or 5 things that is common to all of them. And if you planted those 5 things, your miracle is on the way, guys. One of those things I noticed for everybody, that at least most people that Jesus healed, was persistence. They sowed this seed of persistence. The woman with the issue of blood, remember? The Bible tells us very clearly in Mark 5:25, that she was persistent. She didn't hear about Jesus first. When a problem first came, you have to get it. She finally heard about Jesus after she has done what? She had suffered many things. Immediately she saw that my blood is not going down. She went to every doctor that she can find. She has suffered a great deal under the care of doctors and has spent all that she had. Then she heard, very important, Mark chapter 5:25. Then she heard. You don't get to hear about the solution to your problem until you are talking about it everywhere. That's diligence. Until you are chasing solutions everywhere. Some of you need money to finance your business right now. You are praying in your church. Meanwhile, there's somebody somewhere, there's some company somewhere that are just there looking to give you that money. But you're not going to find it by sitting down in your church and just praying. After you pray, you are going to everywhere you know. You are searching. You are going to forums. You are searching the internet. Where can I get funding for this type of business? It is where you are discussing it everywhere. That somebody will say, why are you wasting your energy here? Here is the person that does this. Principle of diligence. Most times solution does not come just because you sat down and prayed. I'm not saying God cannot just give you the solution. Don't misunderstand me. But from what I have seen, persistence is what makes heaven stand still and give you the solution you want. Woman with the issue of blood, my witness number 2, blind Bartimaeus. Blind Bartimaeus was shouting, Jesus, Son of David, heal me. And they told him to keep quiet. But he kept screaming. His persistence provoked Jesus. The Bible says at some point, Jesus stood still. Heaven will stand still for you wherever you are hustling today. Wherever you are being persistent in your hustle, heaven will stop for you. Heaven does not stop for lay about. You have been persistent in prayer and you have been persistent in action. You have combined all those. Heaven will stop for you. Nobody will be able to limit you. All the disciples of Jesus, they tried to stop blind Bartimaeus. But the Bible said the more they tried to stop him, the more he screamed, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And at some point, Jesus had to just press the brake. That gentle woman that went to ambush Jesus in his retreat, as they were talking, Jesus was saying, listen, I don't have time for you. It is not okay for me to give the food of children to dogs. The woman said, I got you, Jesus. Even the dogs got to eat this crap. I mean, how persistent can you be? The woman did not lose her temper and say, and go away. She persisted. Jesus' mother. Jesus was not even ready to manifest, guys. The first miracle Jesus did, he went to a party with his mother. And then they ran out of wine. Then the mother went to meet him and said, man, you got to do something here. The mother was persistent. Jesus had to declare that, woman, do you not know that it's not yet my time? There's a way you will persist. God will fast forward your miracle in the mighty name of Jesus. There's a way you will say, I will not go. I will not stop. Jesus will have to fast forward. Look, Jesus fast forwarded his ministry. Go read that passage again. He was not ready. He said, woman, do you not know it is not yet my time? But the mother said, well, it doesn't matter. You got to do something here. And Jesus was forced, quote and unquote, to turn that water to wine because the mother won't stop asking him. That is one technology for miracle people. It's not just raising up hands. You are persistent. I remember when I first came to America, I didn't know much. And then I heard that they can give you credit card. There was no credit in Nigeria. I'm talking 1995. That they can give you credit card. That means there will be some money there that you can spend and then start paying back. I'm like, wow, that's good though. So I went to CS. One day I was going to work. I've not gotten my license then. I was still doing this telemarketing job, $10 an hour. Again, another thing, you want to get to where you need to be, you cannot be too full of yourself. I was coming from in Nigeria where I was running a finance company with over 200 million naira at one point in deposit, 1995, guys. But I ended up in America after my finance company collapsed and all that. But I had to do what I got to do. I didn't say I was too big. I already had a master's degree in law then. I was already a chartered accountant. I didn't say, oh, I'm not going to do what is available. So I started doing this $10 an hour job. It's a telemarketing work. Every day you carry the phone and you're trying to sell phone. So I went to CS that I want to apply for credit card. I mean, my credit, I don't have any credit. I just got that Social Security. They denied me the first time. I went again the second time. I filled the form. They denied me. Guys, believe it or not, for 22 straight days, I will go to CS and I will fill out an application form for credit card. On the 22nd attempt, the manager called me into his room, into his office, and said, listen, why do you come here every day to come and fill this thing? You are not qualified because you don't have credit history. But I'm going to approve you for $1,000 credit today. So don't come tomorrow. The man gave me a credit card because he just wanted to get rid of me. He gave me what I wanted because of my persistence. There's a way you will persist. God will move heaven and hearts to answer you. There's a way you know there's a job availability in a certain place. And every day you are going there. Gate man has told you there is no job opening. Every day you are going in there and you are insisting, I want to apply. A time will come, the owner of the company will look at the applicant and say, do you want the craze? What do you want? Principle of persistence. You can bring out your harvest by persisting. There's a level of persistence that will take you to a whole new level, that will turn dry land into a blooming desert. And I prophesy that into your life this morning. As you persist in that desire of your heart, whatever it is, and I'm not just talking church now, I don't talk church, I'm talking real life, that there's a business out there you have been chasing. There's somebody out there that you have believed this is your wife or husband, and you have been persistent and nothing is happening. There's a business plan you have been carrying around, that you have been carrying around application every day of your life. Today, the Lord will turn your dry land into a blooming desert because you refuse to give up. You refuse to give up in prayer. You refuse to give up in hustle. Heaven will stand still for you and answer you. The Lord will turn your dry land into a blooming desert. The woman with the issue of blood, she had gone everywhere. And then when she finally heard about a solution, another problem is standing in her way. There's this crowd. There's all these disciples. You know how disciples like to form cordon around people. And the woman said, I die here today. Let me just touch him. I'm okay. I have heard the testimony from even Pastor Adeboye of a woman that tried to see him. For days, they were blocking him. They were blocking her at camp. Then she fought her way to the front of the man's door and said, I die here today. She slept there. Day 1, day 2, day 3, Baba was not around. Day 4, day 5, day 6, Daddy came back from London. This is testimony from Daddy himself. And they said, there's this woman that has refused to go as one sick child or something. And the woman just grabbed the man's leg. That you are not going anywhere today. You must drop. And Daddy, from the well-being, it's not everybody that asks for prayer that gets their miracle from even Daddy Gio. He doesn't do prayer on miracle on call. There are some things that happen that bring out that anointing. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Because of that woman's faith, because of that woman's persistence, when Daddy Gio prayed for the guy, the woman, the daughter got ill. The daughter was not even there. I'm talking about, I had this testimony from Daddy himself way back 2006, 14 years ago. But the miracle wasn't done by the general overseer. It was done by that woman herself. By remaining persistent. That I've done everything I can. I've gone to hospital. I've tried everything I can for this, my daughter. She's not getting well. God has to do something. This woman with the issue of blood said, I will grab. There's a way you grab God, even your man of God will know that power has gone out. When this woman grabbed Jesus' a cloak, the Bible said Jesus turned around. Imagine a crowd. How can Jesus, what kind of foolish question is that? Jesus said, somebody touch me. I mean, there's a crowd around him. Remember, everybody was jostling. At this point, he was in full flow of his miracle power. He was rounding down. But somehow, in that crowd, Jesus knew somebody touched him. There's a way you will touch God with your hustle. That the Lord will single you out in your church. At once, Jesus realized, that's what the word says, that power had gone out from him. He turned around in the crowd and asked, who touched my clothes here? And he brought out the woman. And the rest is story. You read it. Persistence. Persistence. Persistence will give you the miracle you are looking for. You can't give up simply because 1 or 2 or 3 people told you no. Then you forfeit your harvest. Diligence demands that when you have sowed, you must know when to bring in the harvest. We talked about that in the previous thing a little bit, and I gave the example of Jacob. Maybe it's more relevant here. When the time to collect his harvest came, he was not out there playing around. Many of you, when it's time for your harvest, is when you start slacking. Proverbs chapter 10, verse 5. He who gathers crops in summer is a wise son, but he who sleeps during harvest is a disgraceful son. I have lost a lot of harvest because I slept when it was time for me to reap. I know that. I work hard against this now. Okay? When you might sow, you might do all the sowing the best in the world. You might follow the principles all the way to this principle number 8. But when it came to the time for you to do your harvest, you are not persistent to get what you want. You are busy trying to sow again. I do that a lot. Before I even reach harvest in one, I'm busy sowing another one. I've not even waited. I didn't even, when it comes to time to go and reap that harvest, I abandon it. The Lord will give you presence of mind to know when it is time to bring in your harvest. The Lord will strengthen you when it is time for harvest. Because that is the time the devil wants to slow you down. That is the time the devil wants to make you feel weary. But the Lord will strengthen you. Your harvest will not be wasted. Many of us have left harvest on the field. And we have gone. And they were complaining that the word of God is not working or that something is not working. There's a level of persistence that will provoke a harvest regardless of the obstacles. We've talked about it several. I like to repeat myself over and over because you have to believe it. You have, see, it is all in the mind. If your mind is right, nothing can stop you. The Gentile woman, give you an example. She was persistent. She did not lose focus of why she went to see Jesus. Some of you, some of the people with the most fragile egos I know are poor people. Somebody who doesn't have something is trying to get it. Then one comment from the man or woman who could help him or her, then he gets upset. Why is he talking to me like that? Is it because he has more money than me? Is that why you are there? If your ego is too big, then stay in your house. The Gentile woman did not say, why did Jesus call me a dog? She was focused. She was persistent. She knew that this man can heal my daughter. So whatever name he liked, let him call me. He told Jesus, I hear you. But even the dogs, she latched onto the word self. And Jesus got weak. Said, even dogs will eat some of the... Imagine if somebody could be a blessing to you, insult you, and you embrace it. Unless the person is a sociopath, they will be touched. Because somebody who insults you will know immediately that they insulted you. So if you don't pick it up from there and start getting upset, but you embrace it, say, okay, I hear. But I know you can still help me with this matter, sir. The person, unless he's a sociopath, is going to rethink that, wow. And then you get your harvest. You got to check your ego. Many of us, including myself, we have lost a lot of harvest in our lives because our ego is just too big. Diligent people reap the harvest of becoming supervisors and leaders. If you are not diligent, you will miss out. It's a very clear thing, Proverbs 12:24. Diligent hands will rule, but laziness ends in slave labor. If they have been passing you off at your job for a long time, don't blame the witches. Your boss is not wicked. Only a foolish leader will not promote the person that is most diligent in their company. If they are really interested in the progress of that company, they won't pass you over. Even when they are saying they want to retrench, they retrench those who are least productive. Let's even say the company can no longer afford to pay everybody. Business is bad. Coronavirus has limited them. If they are now ready to retrench, they start from the least diligent. At least that's how I operate, and I'm a business owner. I don't care if the most diligent is the one that came in last. I'm not going to retrench and forget all these last in, first out. That will only apply if the diligence is equal, where everybody is equal. But where somebody's diligence is more than the others, I'm not going to let him go simply because I want to say, okay, it's the one that came in last. I'm going to fire the older one who is not as diligent. The word of God doesn't lie. Proverbs 13:4. The sluggard craves and gets nothing, but the desires of the diligent are fully satisfied. The sluggard does not get a harvest, guys. It's the diligent. How diligent are you? How diligent are you in what you do? How diligent are you in the assignments your bosses give you? Proverbs 4. Lazy hands make a man poor, but diligent hands bring wealth. Remember, diligence has to be productive diligence. How diligent are you? You need to check yourself. If you're poor or if you are working hard and you're not seeing the result, what kind of diligence are you doing? You can't slack and then expect that your boss won't notice. No, they notice, whether it's online or offline, and they file it at the back of their mind. When it comes to time to make decisions, every business owner picks what will help their business best. Forget all that love that all of you are sharing, that, okay, I love you and all that stuff, and they're telling you how much they like you. When it comes to crunch time for their business, they go for the diligent man. I'm giving you Bible passages because this is not a philosophy class. Proverbs 22:29. Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will serve before kings. He will not serve before obscure men. Leaders pursue the company and presence of diligent workers. You will notice at your job, your leaders your bosses are always, there are some people that they call all the time, even though the person may not have the seniority, even though the person may be new in the company. But you notice that when they want to do something, they are always mentioning that person's name. That is a sign that that person is a diligent worker. Somebody that is not diligent, you are ignored. Don't think your boss forgot about it. He didn't forget it. They just ignored you. Some of you are happy when you go to work for a whole month and your boss doesn't give you any special assignment. You think you're lucky. No, your life is going downhill. People like to be in presence of those who are helping them to actualize their vision. They call people who are diligent to what they are interested about. So when you're in a gathering and the leader is not giving you assignments to do, you need to check yourself. There must be a problem with your diligence. The reward for hard work is more hard work, by the way. So if they are not giving you more work to do, you need to check yourself. Don't think you are lucky. There are 8 of you working with a man, but it only costs 2 or 3 people to give work. That means he has no confidence level on the remaining 5 of you. That's how it works in real life. If a man is confident about that you are going to deliver, he will call you. I have a style, one of my managers like that. It's in Nigeria. Every time I get stuck, my mind always goes to him that if I call this guy, his name is Bio. I will always tell myself, if I call Bio, Bio will find a solution. And 9 times out of 10, the boy will deliver for me. Sometimes I have problems in my legal family. The man is not a lawyer. He didn't even go to school. As a matter of fact, he has no degree. I have a problem in my law firm. I'm calling him. You know why? Because the man is always diligent. When you give him an assignment, even if he has no clue how it's supposed to be done, he goes to do research. He figures out a way. And if you are watching this today, Bio, I love you to pieces. You are a great man. The man has done great work everywhere. I will always sing his praises everywhere I go. No complaint, no whining. He doesn't come and tell you his problems. When it comes to the work, all he does is deliver results. Sometimes I send him like 5 paragraphs of assignment. All I'm going to hear from him is, copy, sir. That's all. No long thing. Copied. Or, yes, sir. The next thing you are seeing him is the results. I like to be in his presence when I'm having an assignment. I want to put him in every assignment. He's a Muslim. I'm thinking about how to bring him into into the church. Hopefully God will touch his mind, because he is that competent. Leaders pursue the company and presence of diligent workers. Does your boss pursue your diligence? Does your pastor look for you in your church? Does your boss look for you? Do people look for you to solve problems? If they don't, it's because you are not diligent. So what are you whining about? You already got all the things that you want. So if there's something wrong, if your harvest is not coming, then you need to do what I call audit. And that's it for today. My time is up. I want to appreciate you guys. You are listening to this word. Hopefully the Lord himself will touch you. Hopefully the Lord will expand your mind. The Lord will redeem you unto himself in his words. Because for me, if you are doing the will of God in your life, if you are fulfilling your purpose, that is the real redemption in my mind. You can claim Jesus all you want, but if you don't do what Jesus put you on this earth to do, they are just like somebody who has a key. You have Jesus, but you refuse to go into the house and enjoy all the goodness that God has given you. And of course, if you don't even have a relationship with Jesus, we have nothing to discuss. You have to understand that on the day of harvest, the person who gave you this life is going to ask you, why are you not reconciled with me? Why did you seek me out when you're in this world? So if you haven't accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior right now, I encourage you wherever you are. It's one of the easiest things to do. You need to recognize that you are not doing your life the way your maker wants you to. There's a maker that created you. And you can't even begin to fulfill your purpose unless you ask him. And you can't ask him unless you reconcile with him. You see why it's important for you to be born again? You can't even begin to get proper direction about the purpose that God put you on this earth for if you don't even recognize the person who created you. Remember, only the creator of a thing can know for exactly why he created that thing. I can't tell you your purpose in life. All those motivators that you are listening to can't tell you your purpose. The only person that can tell you your purpose is the person who created you, Jesus Christ, God. And they can't begin to communicate with you properly because the Holy Spirit inside of you cannot even be awakened if you are not reconciled with them. So your point to fulfillment of purpose before you even start talking about proper harvest is reconciling with the person who put you on this world, in this world. And it's a very easy to do. All you simply do is recognize that you can't do it by yourself. Then invite Jesus Christ into your heart to come and guide you, to come and direct you. Let him be the Lord of your life. And understand this. When you're asking Jesus to become the Lord of your life, you are saying, I'm going to surrender to you. I'm going to follow your words as stated in the Bible. If you're not ready to do that, don't bother. Just saying the prayer, I accept him to my Lord as personal Lord and Savior. It's just mouth. That can't save you just because you said it. You have to convince yourself in your mind and you have to commit to do it. Of course, you're not going to follow him. You're not going to be able to do it 100% right all the time. But your heart has to be there. And you have to diligently read his words, absorb it, and subject it. If you decide to follow Jesus today, the Lord bless you so good. Just indicate in the chat box. We'll be more than happy to pray with you. If you need somebody to talk more about that with you, if you don't have all the information you need, and you want to ask about the claims of Jesus, how you can become a born-again Christian and all that, just all you need to do is post a comment. I would like to talk to somebody. Then put your phone number. Somebody will call you. Maybe I will call you. All right? The Lord bless you.